Stuck in the mud? How about you sing a song? Welcome back. Thanks for stopping by Two Hands and a Foot. We won't tell you who's who. Before we get started, though, as always, go ahead and click that like button, click that subscribe button, click that notification bell, and then share this with all your friends so we can get this channel going big. And before you say, why am I going to click like if I don't know I'm going to like it? Well, I know you're going to like it. Let's get into it.
Hey, welcome back. I know it was a long weekend. Everybody was worried we weren't going to get this going, but yes, we are here and it is time for chapter 9. Are you ready, Whedon?
Oh, I'm ready, man. I'm looking forward to your insight on this one.
Awesome. It is a good chapter, so let's just jump right into it. So
Let's do it.
Chapter 9. If you want to change the world, start singing when you're up to your neck in mud. Man, that's just just think about that for a minute. Just up to your neck in mud doesn't sound like a really cool position to be in. I mean, I've seen all those cartoons of people who, the character runs across, quicksand and then falls in, and then they're, struggling to get whatever. And I've seen movies and stuff of military training and being in mud. And I've been in mud myself, all that kind of fun stuff. But that doesn't sound like a good time. So start singing when you're up to your neck in mud. That's a good one. So he goes with two stories again. In this chapter, he goes on two stories. The first one, he's in training. And they're going through what's called Hell Week, which in the whole scheme of SEAL training is about like week 9 or 10, I believe, in the timeline of SEAL training. And it's basically it's 6 days of no sleep. And you're doing hard training, your physical training, your PT and stuff, your calisthenics, your core, obstacle courses and stuff like that, and spending a lot of time in a mud pit. And I mean, it's cold and you're wet and you're covered in mud and you're aching and so you're in this mud pit, and the instructors are on the edge of the mud pit, and they've got this huge fire built, and they're talking calmly through a bullhorn, and they're saying, "Hey, if you want it, just come on up. We've got chicken noodle soup for you. We've got hot coffee for you. You can kick back and relax. Just come on up. Let's go. And hey, if we can get 5 quitters, the whole class can get out of those mud pits and take a break for a little while." And I mean, it's enticing. It's enticing. I mean, you're wet, you're cold, you're tired, and this is they're like, I think that the story is they're like their third day in, at this point, and like they know they've got 3 more days of no sleep and pain ahead of them, and I mean it's enticing. I mean, like, you're wet, you're cold, you're tired. I mean, you can't function properly. You're trying to figure things out, and yes, chicken noodle soup, coffee, and a little bit of a break sound great. And if you can be a part of rationalizing in your mind, hey, if I'm one of the 5 guys that quits, I'm helping out the rest of the group. And so they're at this point and one guy starts to break away from the group. And Admiral McRaven, said that he could see the smirk on the instructor's face, like, hey, I've got somebody. Because he knows if one person gets up and quits, then more people will start, will be more likely to quit. But then
got her mentality going.
Something really awesome happened. A song started breaking out, and it's one of those rah songs that the army, or I should say the military, types likes to bring into play. And so one person started singing it. Well, then one voice turned to 2 and 3 and 4, and soon the whole group was singing it. And the people that were wanting to get out came back to the group, and that irritated the instructors. And hey, you need to shut up, class leader, do whatever, and da 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 da. And but secretly the instructors were smiling because the sailors got the point. One person can spark enough hope to last through the rest of the night.
Yep.
And so the song inspired hope. No one left the pit. And so that was a great lesson that those sailors learned. I'm not sure how many made it all the rest of the way through, but at least at that night, hope was inspired by one person making a difference. The second story, a more somber story relates back to this, the last episode's story, a ramp service. This time, Admiral McRaven was on the receiving end. He was there to receive the plane at Dover Air Force Base with the families of 38 soldiers and airmen who died in a helicopter incident. I think it was the largest one single. It was the largest most deaths. It was the most deaths at one point in time during the whole war on terror.
And largest single day loss.
Yeah, single day loss. Yeah, and so the families are there waiting for the plane to arrive, and Admiral McRaven's there, and a few other high-ranking government officials and such, and they're trying to communicate with the families before the plane arrives, and they're talking with them and trying to console them, and one of the things he mentions was he was having a hard time. He and his wife were having a hard time relating to these individuals, and he had been to many of these ramp services, and it was interesting. And so as they were looking over, they noticed one individual who was and his family who's doing really well at relating to these families, and this individual was United States Marine Corps Lieutenant General John Kelly, and he and his family were, every time that they were, it seemed as if there was a connection between him and these families, and come to find out there was, because General Kelly lost one of his sons in the war in Afghanistan. First Lieutenant Robert Kelly, he was killed in action in 2010. And so he and his family were able to give hope, because the families could see that someone who had lost, someone who had been through the exact same thing that they're going through now, are still there, are still thriving, and are getting better every day. So they showed hope. And so that's the theme of this chapter is when you're stuck in the mud, you got to show hope. And so to me, hope is the action of belief. So it's not enough to say, I believe that I can get better. That's good, believing you can get better. I think hope is the actions you take to prove that belief. And just like singing that song, just like getting on your knee, dirtying your dress uniform, hugging and crying it out with these families, that's putting action behind your belief. And so, your belief is good, but act upon it. Excuse me. And two, trials can and will happen. No one skates through life easy peasy lemon squeezy. And you have two options. You can succumb to it, and you can become worthless in life as a result of succumbing to hey, I'm giving up. I'm accepting defeat in this. Or you can give or show hope. So, right in the mud along with others, you can give and show hope. Or like Lieutenant General Kelly, you can show the progress of hope. That I was where you are, and hope has gotten me this right now. And so, yeah, we are going to be in trials. We are going to have times where things are going to look down and out. And in that suffering, we attain endurance. And in that endurance, we create character. And out of that character comes hope. And so my whole point is look for hope if you need it. We're not always at the top of our game. We're not always the brightest bulb. Sometimes we're that guy in the line in the mud pit who wants to get out and breaks away and says, no, I'm done. I'm going to quit. And then hope comes around. Sometimes we need to look for that hope. But also, whenever we can be hope, show hope for others. And that's what I got out of this is that one, it's not terrible to seek out hope. And then two, whenever you can, be that hope and show that hope for others. I think that's a very, very important concept to grasp out of this this chapter. And I think that, no spoiler alerts, but I think that definitely propels us to what we're going to come into on the last chapter here. I think that the fact of what hope is for, I think that just propels us into what chapter 10 is going to discuss. And so I'm looking forward to that. So that's what I got on chapter 9. Whedon, what do you think?
Man, I think you definitely covered it very well. There's a lot of stories, actually, all throughout the military tradition about being the one voice or the one thing. We're finding that one thing, actually. Saw a video on YouTube yesterday or today. I can't remember which or when I watched it, but it was actually about a Marine Corps horse during Korea. And if you and your listeners ever get a chance, go check out the story of Sergeant, what was it? Reckless. Named after the nickname they had for the recoilless rifles. Yeah, she took part in a massive battle, became the beacon of hope, actually, during that battle. It's a great story. I'm not going to go deep into it, but yeah, look for that hope where you need it. We've all been down through dark times. We've all dealt with loss, dealt with strife, dealt with hardship. And it's important to find that person who can sing for you, and when needed, be that person who's singing. That's the most important thing. Understand that sometimes you're going to have to be the person who sucks it up and starts the song.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a whole lot to put in. You definitely covered a lot of it. You did a really good job on this one. That helicopter crash, though, that was actually a Black Hawk that was shot down by the Taliban in Afghanistan. It was full of SEALs and an Army flight crew.
Yeah, I think like 38.
Yeah, 38 total. It was 25 SEALs, a few of their Afghani special forces counterparts, and then an Army flight crew. Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was a very dark day in the SEALs history. A lot of I mentioned the podcast Sean Ryan show. Mm-hmm. A lot of his guests he has are SEALs. He's a SEAL, all from the last 20 years. So a lot of them actually new guys on that bird. So they talk about that a lot. So, but yeah, that's about all I got for it. You said you did a good, I mean, you always do. You did a real good job of covering this. So.
Yeah, that's a great. I really enjoyed going back over it. It's one of those things where I like how he does the sort of a split, training, his SEAL training, keeping to the SEAL training, and then giving a real life, so to speak, more relatable experience, I guess. So I think he does a great job of doing so. So all right, that'll wrap up chapter 9. Looking forward to what we're going to get in chapter 10. But hey, so I hear, Whedon, that you've got this charity event that's going on. Tell us a little bit about it.
I do. Actually, I've signed on to help a group called Stop Soldier Suicide. They do events fairly often. I've seen a couple of their events come up. This is the first time I've been able to participate for various reasons, usually deployment related. But so the one I've signed up for is 30 hours of gaming nice. To help stop soldier suicide. Right. I mean, I'm a gamer anyway. I'm going to waste my time on the computer at some point. I might as well do it for somebody else. Right.
There you go.
So right now we're fundraising. I've got a link. I'll get that to you.
Okay.
If anyone would like, just $1, $5, whatever, you can throw in. It's absolutely a good cause. Before I signed on, I went and did a deep dive on the not for profit, and I mean they make their financial sheets available. You can go look them up if you want to validate before you throw money at it. Absolutely, I encourage you to do so. But yeah, they're one of the good ones. I looked through all the fact sheets, looked them up on a few other websites. They're a good charity. So I've signed up for that. We're fundraising now. The week of the 26th through the 30th, we'll actually be logging our game time. So until then, I'll be honing my my Twitch streaming skills.
All right.
So I'll throw my gaming online. If anyone wants to watch, feel free. I'll send you that link as well.
Perfect.
Yep. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun and for a good reason.
All right. Indeed. I know both you and I, this has affected our lives a number of times. A number of our good friends have succumbed to this. I'll call it a disease. And so it definitely is something that we need to be more aware of and working hard to prevent. And I think doing it in a unique way, I think that's awesome. So yeah, I will definitely have those links in the description, so anybody can go and check those out. And then if you're on Twitch or whatever, you can go ahead and get in and jump in and watch him game during those those days that they're having that go on. So I'll go ahead and do that. And let's get a good push toward ending something rather terrible. So we'll go from there. Hey, I think it kind of goes along with what we're talking about, providing hope. And so we're gonna put our money where our mouths are, so to speak, and start working on providing some hope there. So hey, I've enjoyed it. I know you've enjoyed it, Whedon, right?
Oh God, yeah. This is a great book. I've enjoyed the ride.
Indeed. And so we've got one more episode of it. Don't miss out. But you do have a chance, guys, to get on and check out the 1 through 8. If you haven't seen those, go ahead and watch those, and then hop along, watch chapter 10, go get the book, give it a read, stick it on your shelf, read it here and there. You can follow this channel on X, and then just spread the word. So like, share, subscribe, get notified, don't miss out on an episode, and then see where this thing can go. So anything else, Whedon?
That's all I got for tonight, man.
All right, man. Everybody else, have a great night, morning, afternoon, evening, midnight snack. I don't care as long as it's good. We'll catch you on the flip side.